What's going on, guys? Steve here with Geek Boulevard, back with another film review. That's right, I have checked out M. Night Shyamalan's latest directorial effort, Trap, starring Josh Hartnett, who has come back into the leading role spotlight after a very long break from Hollywood. Now, is this a return to form for M. Night? And in my opinion, I would say no, but let's get into why I think that is. I will be getting into some story spoilers later in the video, so if you want to go into this film as fresh as possible, you can by all means skip that section and the timestamps that I've included right down below. You can go to my overall score and get my final thoughts on it. Trap is written, produced, and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It is rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. A man and his teenage daughter realize they're at the center of a dark and sinister event while watching a concert. This man, by the name of Cooper, is secretly the serial killer known by the news as the Butcher. And the concert that he and his daughter are attending is a complete fake in order to find and capture this killer. And that's not really a spoiler. If you've seen the first trailer for it, it's right in front of your face. And I think the first half of this movie, that type of scenario is explored pretty well, I feel. Which leads to my positive part of this movie, and that is Josh Hartnett as the father Cooper, aka the Butcher. He does a great job of playing a villain here and seems to be having some good fun with that dynamic for a change. Hartnett was always this teen heartthrob from the late 90s to early 2000s. He was kind of like typecasted as that, and then eventually he kind of just disappeared for a while just to kind of get away from the Hollywood grind. He did have a small role in Oppenheimer, but this is his first leading role in years, and he crushed it, I feel. His dual identity of being a caring dad who's a little awkward with his daughter as he tries to like bond with her. He tries to get the lingo down, like kids of this generation, the words that they always say. He tries to be hip and cool, but he's also harboring this darkness, this terrible secret. And I think he did really well in playing both sides there as the police try to close in on him. I hope he takes on more leading roles that challenge him as an actor in the future, such as this, because he makes for a pretty good, compelling villain. His dialogue is kind of forced and awkward at times, but it kind of works in this case since he's a killer who is trying his best to appear normal, but you can tell that there's just something not quite right about him. But when it comes to other characters' dialogues, and this is kind of where I'm going to get into my negatives, that's when it feels off and completely unnatural. Some characters were explaining through dialogue that the Butcher is a dangerous man, he has to be stopped, and this whole concert is a trap to catch him. And the way it's kind of said through that dialogue, it just felt really weird and unnatural all the time. It felt like I was playing an RPG and I was going up to an NPC to try to get more information about like the next quest that I'm doing, and they just proceed to give me so much exposition as to like why I'm doing this quest in the first place and why I need to get it done. That's what it felt like to me. It just felt really weird. And this film was also sort of a promotional album of sorts for M. Night's daughter Salika, an R&B artist who has a supporting role in the film as fictional pop star Lady Raven. The film in the second half kind of switches perspectives for a bit to her point of view, and that's where the film just goes off the rails for me. First of all, and I don't mean to harp on Salika because her music that was featured in the film was great and she seems like a really talented artist, but her acting needs a little work. She does share some scenes with Hartnett, and when you compare his acting to hers, she just ends up looking dull and flat by comparison. Due to that perspective shift, it really kind of killed the pacing for me, and it made this movie just feel much longer than it needed to be. This could have been like a 90-minute quick thriller, wrapped up beautifully, but no, the movie just kind of keeps going and going and going. This is where I'm going to be getting into spoilers now for this review, so once again, if you don't want any story points ruined for you, I suggest you skip this part and go to my overall score. So Cooper manipulates his way into meeting Lady Raven with his daughter in tow, who is none the wiser that her father is a serial murderer. He speaks to Lady Raven and basically tells her that, hey, so yeah, I'm the Butcher, heard you guys were looking for me, and we want to get out of here, so you're gonna help us. If she doesn't help them, he's gonna kill a victim that he has chained up in a basement. He has like security footage of him. So she does her best to play cool and manages to kind of get her driver to drop them off at Cooper's home where his family is, and it just gets worse from there. She manages to kind of manipulate her way through these events. She manages to kind of grab Cooper's phone, and she rushes into their bathroom and tries to talk to the victim to get details on his location in order to free him. Then she goes live on her phone to warn people and to kind of give details as to where the victim is, if maybe someone has found these like certain landmarks, can they locate him? It just didn't feel genuine, as I think she was supposed to be terrified in that moment. She's supposed to be really scared, and it looked as if she was supposed to cry as well, but she just couldn't. Like, she was sniffling, but there were no tears coming down her face. It just felt really, really forced. And she eventually just kind of vanishes for the rest of the film once the victim is found and freed. Cooper's family knows now about his dark secret, so the kids are sent off to relatives for safety. His wife is home alone, and he just kind of pops up in the kitchen after having eluded the police, which also seemed kind of weird, the way that he tried to elude police, because there were definitely moments where he should have been caught and somehow managed to kind of get himself out of it within seconds of them finding him. Didn't really make sense to me, but let's continue. It turns out his wife suspected him of doing something that didn't seem quite normal like this for a while. At first, suspicious that he was maybe having an affair, but then she determined that, oh no, he has to be the killer, because he would come home smelling like cleaner fluid that's used in hospitals. It just seemed like a real big stretch. I just didn't quite understand that at all. I feel like the entire first half of this movie worked rather well, and then all of this stuff kind of just happened in the second half. It just felt like the film just kind of ran out of steam and was struggling to stay on its own 2 feet. This honestly, it felt like it could have been an episode of an anthology series. Like, I remember M. Night was even attached to helm a reboot of Tales from the Crypt at TNT, like years and years ago, but it eventually fell through. I feel like if that had eventually gone through, then this could have been a tight episode of that show. And I felt like it could have worked if it was within that 1 hour sort of time frame. As a movie, it just doesn't work for me. To close it all out, I have to give Trap a score of 2 out of 5 stars. With a very compelling performance in Josh Hartnett, who does his best with the uneven script and unnatural and forced dialogue, the second half really brings the quality down when the perspective switches to Salika Knight's character, Lady Raven, whose performance is incredibly shallow and wooden, especially in her scenes with Hartnett, and in effect brings the pacing down to a crawl. The film just kind of keeps going when I feel like it should have ended already. But what did you guys think of Trap? Have you checked it out yet? Where would you rank it on your list of M. Night's films? Is it worse than The Happening?
Plan on murdering me in my sleep?
What? No!
Let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this review, sub to the channel if you haven't already, tick the bell to get notified when my next review or video drops. That's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep it classy and keep it geeky.
I can't get away. I can't stop. I'll just do this one last one. Enjoy the rest of the concert.